Let's see here. Okay, so I'm looking for you guys to give me my feedback on this. Okay, so let's start with the topic du jour. One of the things that I saw, the media is a great place. It is an excellent place, excellent place to learn about wealth, investing, watching people make money moves, understand the implications of those money moves. One of the more interesting developments right now in the economic system has to do with Donald Trump and China, kind of going back and forth. You guys have seen this trade war between Trump and China. It's made mainstream in the media, and and basically it's caused all kinds of chaos and insanity in the stock market. It's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting because you're sort of seeing a lot of excess volatility, which doesn't really bode well for long-term investing in terms of people feeling safe, in terms of people feeling good about putting their money into the stock market. So, right now is kind of an interesting time because what they're measuring a lot on Wall Street is they're actually paying very close attention to fear, because fear, as one of the presidents, I think it was FDR, said, we have nothing to fear but fear itself. Well, fear it can have a huge financial impact, even if it's not real, even if there's nothing to fear. The fact that people are afraid or nervous can cause real meaningful economic reactions. And that's what you're seeing in the stock market. Now, we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. But one of the things I want to ask you guys about, and I'd like for you guys to give me a quick response on this. Let me know what you think. Yes or no, yes or no. I don't know if you guys, I'm gonna ask you guys, I'm gonna tell you what happened, then I'm gonna ask your opinion. If you think it was a good move or a bad move, and yes means it was a good move, no means it's a bad move. All right, so Jay-Z just made a deal. He's made a big financial deal, because Jay-Z, he don't do cents, he does dollars. And if it ain't dollars, then it don't make sense. And so Jay-Z signed up to do a deal with the NFL. Now the NFL, in case you haven't forgotten, that's the place LeBron James referred to as a big plantation with a slave master mentality. It's a place that has been in an interesting controversy with Colin Kaepernick, and a lot of chaos that came as a result of Colin Kaepernick taking a knee. There's let's see, I'm going to read some of this to you in the Washington Post. The NFL is forming a partnership with music mogul Jay-Z in a deal that allows him to help manage entertainment ventures tied to league events and is closely connected to the league's community activism efforts. So basically, in the first paragraph, they're saying that the deal, you got to read these articles very carefully, read every word has a meaning. It's a deal that allows him to help manage entertainment ventures tied to the league's events. So Jay-Z is going to be an entertainment manager. Jay-Z himself is not going to perform, at least not immediately. At least that's what Roger Goodell says. But Jay-Z is going to manage the performers. He's going to manage the other entertainment assets that the NFL decides to invest in. So he's going to help pick the people that perform for the NFL. That's a very interesting sort of position. And he's also closely connected to the league's community activism efforts. The NFL began to engage in mass amounts of community activism when they were getting a backlash from the Black community, when there was a boycott of the NFL. Colin Kaepernick was taking a knee. People felt that the NFL was wrong. Even Nike took a stand and really caused some serious harm to its relationship with the NFL by signing Kaepernick to a mega deal and doing that big ad with Kaepernick. Remember the one that said, don't ask if your dreams are big or something, like make sure ask if your dreams are big enough, or don't ask if your dreams are too big, something like that. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So the partnership, let me read more. Washington Post. The partnership will make Jay-Z, whose given name is Sean Carter, and his Rock Nation agency a co-producer of the Super Bowl halftime show. It does not contain a provision for him to be the halftime performer, he and NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell said. Quote, he was very quick to say that he does not want this to be about him performing, that it was broader than that, Goodell said in an interview. It quickly went beyond that. Do I hope he'll perform in the Super Bowl sometime in the next several years? Yes, but I think we'll all know if that time comes. He'll know in particular. So the NFL's deal, what I'm hearing here is that the NFL, the nature of their deal is they're saying, look, we don't feel alone that we're capable or comfortable managing the talent that's going to come into the Super Bowl. We want your help to manage the talent. We also want your help with our community activism efforts that we created in order to deal with the backlash we were getting because of the Colin Kaepernick incident. And even though we're still an organization that is still being accused by a lot of people of blackballing Colin Kaepernick, he's a great player. He could play on the team right now. Like, he could go out there right now next week and probably contribute to a team. They're basically saying, look, we need you as a buffer, as a liaison between ourselves and the entertainment community. Why? Well, because last year we tried to get entertainers to perform at the Super Bowl. They wouldn't come. Maybe they'll come if we pay you to convince them to come and work on our behalf. Now, I want you guys to give me an answer. Yes, if you're happy with Jay-Z's move. No, if you're not happy. Yes or no? Yes, if you're happy. No, if you're not happy. You think it's a good move or a bad move? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes, if you think it's a good move. No, if you think it's a bad move. Okay, I see Sunshine Queen says no. I see hell no. Ron says no. Haywood says yes. Okay, I'm seeing Keisha and Matthias, the Invincible Armor, Judah Priest, no, 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 no. Barbara says yes. I see a couple of yeses. I'm seeing a lot of no's. And I actually saw a hell yes, but then I saw a sellout. That's not technically one of the two answers, but it's okay. It's not a two-party system. You can say hell to the hell no, whatever you want to say. Hell no counts as no. Okay, all right. So I'm seeing a lot of no's. I'm seeing a lot of people that are saying that you have an issue with Jay-Z taking on this deal, and you have an issue with Jay-Z. I see a ton of no's amongst the Black Business School students, and it's very interesting. So I can understand where the no's come from. Now let me ask you. Let me let you guys know something. We actually do surveys because we like to take the pulse of the community and see how the community feels. So we have hundreds of thousands of people on the platform, so it allows us to kind of do some surveys, and you do some statistical inference. You can kind of get a sense of where people are. Well, the majority of the Black community is not happy with the deal. We basically asked, Jay-Z just made a deal to be a music partner with the NFL. How do you feel about this deal? 44% said it was a good decision for Jay-Z. So 44% feel like it's a good decision. 34% said they're not entirely comfortable with the deal. 21% said it was a bad decision for Jay-Z. So that's about 55%. The majority of you felt that it was not a good move for Jay-Z, not a good look, that it's a little self-serving. And it's interesting. I'm not going to, lay out a clear opinion on this in terms of, forcing my opinion on you. I'm going to kind of use this as an opportunity to teach you how money works and to teach you, a little bit of what I know. Teach it not in an arrogant way, but to teach in a supportive way. Feel free to just say, "Oh, this is a bunch of BS, man. I ain't listening to you." It's okay. It's all right. It's a perspective. What I really unfortunately see with Jay-Z, and I like Jay-Z a lot. I think he did with 444. It was a masterpiece. I think he's a contributor, and I think that he's not somebody that should be canceled over this, but it is an issue. Basically, they paid Jay-Z to be an overseer. He's being paid to be an overseer. Why do I say that? Well, because if you recall, during slavery, the overseer was the Black person that the master picked because the master could not go directly give orders to the slaves, right? Another example of overseers might be if you look at a lot of college basketball programs and football programs, the head coaches in many cases will be white, and the assistant coaches will be majority Black. Why do you pick Black assistant coaches if you've got white boys running the program? White boy is the athletic director. White guys are the ones making a lot of the money on TV. The white guys are the corporate guys. They're making the corporate money from our athletes. The head coaches are making millions of dollars, especially in college football. The majority of them are white. The majority of the big paid ones, like Nick Saban, guys like that, are making a lot of money. Now, as you go further down the pile, though, you start seeing more and more Blackness, right? Majority of the players doing all the work, bringing in all the revenue, bringing in the billions of dollars a year are Black. And a lot of their assistant coaches are Black. A lot of their recruiters are Black. Why do you do that? Why do you have the overseer, where the overseer is almost like a social lubricant that allows you to more effectively screw the people at the bottom, right? Or I won't sound so cynical. I'm sorry, I sound pessimistic. I'm probably showing my bias here. The overseer is the Negro translator, if you will. They're the person who helps you relate to the Black athletes that you can't relate to. They're the ones who help you connect to those Black entertainers that won't come. They won't come and perform for the NFL. They won't do it as a favor for the NFL because they hate the NFL, but they'll do it as a favor for Jay-Z. Like, well, Jay, man, I rocks with you, Jay, man. But these old racist NFL dudes, man, I don't like them, but I'm gonna do it for Jay, right? Because Jay gets mad respect. Jay is respected amongst black people. So, it's a little bit like, I mean, Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson kind of had that role in terms of politics. It's not an uncommon game. And I was very surprised that Jay took the deal, because I think I would assume that he's smarter than this. But at the same time, Jay cares about his money. And remember, he had that deal with the Brooklyn Nets, where the Brooklyn Nets came in and they marketed. They had I remember going to New York and I saw a big old billboard in Times Square that had Jay-Z on the billboard, as if he was the owner of the Brooklyn Nets, and he didn't own anything. He didn't own anything. He was a mascot. He was a mascot for the Brooklyn Nets. And the reason they put him up there is because you had you had these Russian billionaires who said, we can't convince these people to accept us, but they've already accepted him. So we're going to pay him for access to, to the broader community, to be able to go in and, gentrify and bring in, contractors from other Italian and Russian contractors and Latino contractors to do the work and just sort of push out the black community. And it worked. Cornel West told me. I talked to Cornel West. He and I were together about 6 hours that day, and he gave me in very good detail, what happened behind the scenes in terms of how he was working with people to protest for living wages and against the gentrification of the stadium, to make sure the community got a good deal, not to block the stadium, but to force them to negotiate with the community. And he said when they put Jay-Z on that billboard, and they gave the impression that Jay-Z was an owner and paid Jay-Z as a social lubricant, as an overseer, that killed all the momentum behind their protests. People didn't get behind them anymore because they felt that we don't rocks with the Russians, but I rocks with Jay, right? Like, so, again, I don't rocks with the NFL, but I rock with you, Jay, so I'll come do it for you, right? And so I think that this is probably not one of my favorite Jay-Z deals. Again, it doesn't mean I just hate the guy. I think he's garbage, but it does say that it is what it seems to be. The NFL probably wouldn't be making this particular deal with Jay-Z if it wasn't for the trouble that they're in. They're buying their way out of jail. They're paying for a get out of jail free card. If they weren't having this trouble with Kaepernick, they probably only pay Jay to come and perform. They wouldn't want his input on, managerial decisions. They're like, well, what do we need you for? Like, we don't need you to tell us what entertainer to pick. We know how to pick. We know what a good singer looks like and a good rapper sounds like. What do we need? So let me keep going. Let's see here. Rock Nation will choose entertainers who will perform in televised NFL promotional spots throughout the season. Carter said he believes Rock Nation will have freedom under the partnership to produce the kind of entertainment that it wants. Jay-Z said, this is Jay's side. Now let's hear out Jay's perspective on this. I think we have autonomy, he said during an interview at Rock Nation's offices in New York. I anticipate there will be a lot with any big organization in this building right here. We have internal problems. Anything that's new is going to go through its growing pains. We put what we want to do on the table. The NFL agreed to it. So we're going to proceed with that as if we have a partnership. So he said, we put what we wanted to do on the table. So I don't know who approached who about the partnership, but it almost sounds like they approached the NFL, but maybe not. Financial terms of the partnership are not available. I'd like for those to be available. I'd like to know exactly, what this deal, what kind of money is being, passed over in this deal. The community activism portion of the partnership will be tied to the NFL's Inspire Change program with its players. Quote, it very quickly went beyond the Super Bowl in our early conversations, Roger Goodell said. Roger Goodell is the NFL commissioner. We have an opportunity to make an impact well beyond just the Super Bowl. It could be every other event. It could be every week of our regular season. It could be an Inspire Change and how we use platforms to drive positive change in our communities. Carter said that, of course, he had some misgivings about the partnership with the league at a time when Colin Kaepernick, who began the movement of NFL players kneeling during the national anthem to protest racial inequality and police treatment of African Americans, remains unsigned to any team, and amid the recent controversy over Miami Dolphins owner Stephen Ross hosting a lavish fundraiser for President Trump. I don't have a problem with him having a fundraiser for Trump because I believe you have a right to vote for whoever you want to vote for. I don't rock with this whole idea that if you're not a Democrat, you're a racist. I think that's ridiculous. I know a lot of black people who aren't Democrats, but that don't mean they're racist. So I think that's a little bit too much. People, we live in a free country. You should have the right to vote for the other side, without somebody saying you should be put in jail or killed for who you voted for. But he put such wariness aside. He said to try to do some good by building on the NFL social justice initiatives. Quote, I think that when you're discussing these sorts of issues, everything is going to be tough. This is what Jay-Z said. You can either go home, you can pack your bag and sit in your house, or you can choose to take it head on. And that's pretty much how we operate at Rock Nation. We seek to identify things that we want to be a part of and things we believe that we can add value to. And we step in and we come with these ideas. And to their credit, the NFL agreed to these ideas. All these ideas come from this building, except for Inspired Change, which existed, but we built it out. So we know it'll be difficult, but we think at the end of the day, a lot of people will benefit from the NFL's platform and the things that we brought to the table. We think it can help a lot of people. He's kind of doing a lot of talking, but he ain't really saying nothing. I'm not gonna tell you. I'm listening. I'm trying to process it, and I'm trying to hear a message, and I'm not really getting a message. I'm getting a message that sounds very corporate-y. I don't know if you guys tell me if you're picking up something from this. I'm not picking up anything. I'm picking up, we made a deal and we made some money and we think it's going to be great. It's going to be awesome and everybody's going to love it. It sounds like Trump talking or something, right? Like Trump, yes, Trump, like what do you think about the such and such deal? He'd be like, oh, it's great. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be the best deal in the world. It's going to be extraordinary. I think that, I'm with you, Wes. Wes says he said, I hate to go there, but this has the smell of a modern day minstrel show in the making. Generally what happens a lot of times, let me tell you a story. There's a guy in Nigeria. I don't know the story in detail, so forgive me if I tell some of it wrong, but this is what I remember, and it left an impression on me in graduate school. There was an activist by the name of Ken Saro-Wiwa. I hope I said that right, Ken Saro-Wiwa. And Ken Saro-Wiwa in Nigeria, he noticed something that a lot of us know. He noticed that all these European companies like Shell Oil Company and others, and Shell in particular, were coming to Nigeria, which is one of the most oil-rich countries on the planet. Everybody in Nigeria should be wealthy. Everybody in Nigeria should be eating. Everybody in Nigeria should be doing well. But for some reason, you got this millions of people in the most abject, unbelievable poverty that you've ever seen. If you've ever rolled through Nigeria, imagine the worst hood you've ever seen in your life. Multiply that by 10. That's what I saw. That's what you see when you go through some of the hoods in Nigeria. It is absolutely stunning that a country could have that much money and that much oil and that much wealth and that much poverty. It just don't make no damn sense. And so Ken Saro-Wiwa protested. He's protested that Dutch Shell was coming to Nigeria, taking all the oil and not doing anything for the people. The leaders were living large. When I went to Nigeria, I was invited by some wealthy people. And I had royal treatment. They treated me like Barack Obama. I had security and limos and being drove around in bulletproof Hummers and all kinds of stuff. But I saw a lot of stuff that really kind of concerned me, and I didn't really know what to say or how to deal with that. So Ken Saro-Wiwa, bless his heart, man, this brother was out here protesting the fact that the oil companies were stealing from the people. And so the Dutch Shell people, they didn't really know how to deal with him. They couldn't go in there and do anything themselves because they couldn't go directly to the problem. But they were like, this guy's costing us money. This guy's messing up our business. Our pipelines can't pull the oil out the way we want because he's getting people excited, riled up, and he's raising the consciousness of the people. He was a bolder version of a Colin Kaepernick because he was putting his life on the line. Most, chances are ain't nobody gonna kill Cap for doing what he did. Ken Saro-Wiwa, unfortunately, lost his life. And let me tell you how he lost his life. He didn't lose his life because, some white guy came in and had him killed. He lost his life because the black people who were being taken care of by the oil companies took his life. The black people, the overseers, came and made sure he wasn't a problem anymore as long as the oil company took care of them. Right. So a lot of times that's what you have. It goes back to the plantation. If you had a slave that got out of line, they would say, well, we can't deal with him We're not dealing with him and his demands because we feel like he's a troublemaker, but we'll deal with you. We'll deal with this other person over here. When I was at Syracuse University, and I was the troublemaking slave, I was the Colin Kaepernick of my campus in the sense of saying, like, hey, this is horrible. You guys are racist. You have a dozen departments on campus that have never hired a black person in 100 years. What is this nonsense? And so what happened was that, you have people that said, look, we don't want to deal with him. We want him out of here. But there were black people who said, well, if you don't want to deal with him, you can deal with me, boss. Just take care of me, boss. I'll be your blackface boss. And so so what happened is that because they didn't want to necessarily deal with me, which I'm not bitter about it. It's just life, is how it works. If I were in their position, who knows? Maybe I'd act the same way. And they didn't deal with me, but they brought in all these black people. They hired so many black people. The year that I was there, they promoted black people that hadn't earned the promotion. They weren't even qualified because they were so desperate to do something to counter the fact that I was basically proving that they were incredibly racist. So ultimately, Jay-Z's kind of performing that same role. He's performing this role where, he's saying, look, you don't want to deal with Kaepernick. You want to keep Kaepernick out of the league. Well, you could deal with me. I think that a more noble approach to this could be, look, I'll deal with you, but I'm bringing Cap with me. I'm publicly connecting myself to Colin Kaepernick. I'm publicly supporting Colin Kaepernick. So when you pay me, you're going to be putting money into the pocket of somebody who's going to consistently put Kaepernick's name in your face, in your ear, up your butt. I'm going to be on you like that. Like, I'm going to be on you about this whole issue. So yeah, you can pay me if you want to, but if you pay me, you're going to take care of everybody. Malcolm X's rule was, if you want me, you must take all my people too. If you can't love my people, then you don't love me. Right. So I think that's the issue. That's what I'm curious about. I'm curious to see how Jay-Z deals with Kaepernick. If he I think if Kaepernick got back into the league and some of these other brothers who've lost their jobs from taking the knee got back into the league as a result of Jay-Z's intervention, then I wouldn't have so much of an issue with it. But right now, unfortunately for Jay, the way it looks to the public, I think, to intelligent black people, that's who I talk to on my platform. I don't talk to anybody else. It looks like, he's being paid off. He's being paid off to help them to get out. They're buying a get out of jail free card from him that allows them to continue with business as usual, to not change a damn thing, and to still somehow find a way into the good graces of certain black people who have a short memory. Because y'all know black folks, we don't really stick to nothing. We'll protest you really hard for about 4 days until you come out with a sale or special. There was a Chinese hair shop actually that was being protested in the community, and all the people did in the shop was they had like a 2-for-1 sale, and they had black people lined up out the door down the street because they had a 2-for-1 sale. So when your dignity is bought that easily, that quickly, then it's very easy for people to dial up your number and know exactly how to control you. And so I think that this Jay-Z situation, this Jay-Z investment, is a situation where money is being traded for influence. It also is a reminder that all money ain't good money. When you guys are doing business and making investments, and everybody in here is going to be a boss one day. Everybody, either you or your children, are going to be bosses. That's why you're here. That's why you hang out with me, because everybody doesn't hang out with me. Regular people don't want to hang out here. You hang out here because you have a vision for your family. You want to get out here and succeed. You want to be strong and smart and on top of the world. Well, I'm just here to tell you point blank period that the higher you go, the greater the temptations will grow. The higher you go, the temptations will grow. So that means that, everything that you think you wouldn't do, like you're like, oh man, I wouldn't take that money. I would, man, if I was Jay-Z, I wouldn't do none of that. Yeah, well, have somebody come up to you and put a $50 million check in your face and see how quickly you're tempted to come up with excuses to accept that money, especially if all the people around you are saying, you could take the money, you can still do good with the money. Go ahead and take the money. Go and take the money, right? So I encourage you, all of you who are trying to become, big, you're trying to be bosses like Jay and Beyonce and everything else. Figure out who you are now. Figure out who you are while you're broke, and try to maintain and continue to be that person when you start getting rich. Because if you don't know who you are when you start making money, then you're going to completely lose yourself, and you're going to find yourself making deals with the devil and end up stuck. I think that Jay, my vote on this, I'm just going to be honest with you. My vote on this is that Jay's making a deal with the devil. I don't see where the world benefits. I see where Jay's benefiting, and it's very disappointing to me because I really felt that Jay-Z had evolved. Now, if Jay or somebody on his team wants to come in to this podcast and defend the deal, then they can do that. They can come on my podcast, and I'd be happy to have them. I'd be happy to hear their point of view. But right now, I feel like we've gone backward. I had a 3-hour conversation with I think Beyonce's tour manager. I think that's what he was. He set up all the tours, and we debated for 3 hours about Jay-Z back in 2013, 2014. And he swore to me that Jay believes differently and that Jay really isn't this sellout guy that everybody makes him out to be. And I sat there and I was just like, I don't believe you. I don't care what kind of person he is behind closed doors. I need to know, what kind of man are you, in public? What you do is what shapes you and defines you, not what you believe. Like, I could believe everyone, I could believe that, it's important to be a good person, but if I go out and kill somebody, I'm a murderer. I'm not a good person. I'm a murderer at that point, right? So what are you doing? And I think this deal bothers me also because it reminds me so much of that deal with the Brooklyn Nets. I didn't like that deal either, and I just think that Jay-Z has a lot of money already. And it also goes to another point I want to make to you guys, besides, knowing that not all money is good money, but also remember this too, that it's what was my second point I was going to make? Oh gosh, I lost my point. I lost my point. It was a good point. Oh my gosh. I totally lost my point. Anyway, let me go ahead and stop talking about it. You guys feel free to leave your comments on it. I'm gonna go ahead and start digging deeper into the financial stuff. And I wish I could grab that point because it was a good one. You ever have that where something comes in your head and then it just disappears? Yeah, but anyway, so let's get started. In the rest of the conversation, feel free to let me know what you think, and I'll just say that, once again, this is not a conversation meant to drag Jay-Z or dog him out. It's just to say that this deal, it wasn't the best look. Oh, that's the other thing. That's the point I wanted to make. Yeah, I knew it was a good point. So I'm glad I got it. I searched my brain for it. And I just found it. It was over here in the back left-hand, right-hand side of my head. A lot of people believe that financial freedom, means having a lot of money. A lot of people believe, that being rich makes you financially free. That's just not true. Having more money doesn't make you financially free, because, if you have more money, then money's easier to get. And if you really have a financial addiction, if you think about a drug addict, a drug addict doesn't become free of the drug when he has greater access to the drug. A drug addict becomes more dependent on the drug, right? Imagine if you are a guy who uses cocaine, let's say, and you're a functioning addict, but you can't sit around and snort cocaine all day because it's expensive. You got to get up and go to work. You got to take care of the kids. You got stuff to do, right? So you use your drugs once every month or whatever, once every couple of weeks, and that's what you do. You keep it, at that level, casual. But let's say that somehow you come in, you win the lotto, you win, $50 million. So you don't have to go to work anymore. And let's say that you're now a single man, maybe your wife left you or something because of your drug habit. And so you're sitting at home all day. You ain't got to go to work, and you got an endless supply of money where now, your drug use isn't limited by your income anymore. You can literally have a big bowl of cocaine right next to the bed and literally start snorting from the minute you wake up to the time you go to sleep. Are you going to become less of an addict on drugs or more of an addict? Right? Are the drugs are you going to be more liberated from the drugs or more enslaved by the drugs? Now, the reason I say that is because money has the same effect on the brain as a drug does. Studies show, Professor Andrew Lowe at MIT actually started that he did that research where he basically showed that the part of the brain that's affected when you get money is the same part of the brain that's affected when you get high or when you fall in love or whatever, or when you have an orgasm, right? Whatever it like those pleasure centers are affected by money. So some people have a lot of money, but that doesn't mean they're more financially free than you. Some of them have money and they become more of a financial addict because they have to keep a certain amount of money coming in. Before, when they were broke, they could live off, $100,000 a month, easy, $50,000 a month, easy. But you look at where Michael Jackson was before he died. This man needed $10 million a month in income just to maintain his lifestyle, right? So with Jay, I don't know why Jay made this deal. I feel like Jay and Beyonce just seem to have so much money. Like they can easily walk away from things like this. But when the money's that big and you're so used to just raking it in, and that's just what you're all about. You're all about the money. You're rapping about the money. It's all about getting money. Well, then sometimes you can become a slave to the money. The money can cause you to do things that you shouldn't do. So there are some poor people or some broke people or working class people who are more financially free than some wealthy people. So when you become wealthy, make sure you use your money to liberate yourself as opposed to enslave yourself, right? Make sure you always know in your mind, don't be a hardcore capitalist. You know, people use the term black capitalist. I'm not a fan of that term because capitalism eats away at your soul. Capitalism is not a healthy habit. You know, capitalism is it's like getting up every day and drinking, you know, a gallon of liquor and eating a pound of fried chicken every morning for breakfast. Like it's unhealthy for you if you are a hardcore capitalist. So what I encourage you to do is to be a person who utilizes free enterprise as a pathway to fulfill a more meaningful purpose for your life. Your purpose might be taking, you know, generational wealth for your family. It might be giving yourself freedom and peace of mind. It might mean building up your community. It might mean buying your block. It might mean, you know, pursuing some, you know, some activist cause, but find your higher purpose and use money as a tool for that purpose. Money itself should not always be the end motivation. That's just not a fun life to live. Okay, so that's my thought. I don't, but then again, I don't know Jay-Z as a person, so I could be totally wrong on this, but I think that if you conjoin this particular business move, the Brooklyn Next move, and you conjoin that with all the lyrical content you've heard from Jay over the years that seem to lean toward a lot of materialism, a lot of focus on money, it almost makes me wonder if there is a financial addiction, just so much of a drive for money that is sort of like, you know, I'm taking care of me, I'm taking care of Jay, and that's it. You know, and also from New York, I know a lot of New Yorkers. And the thing about New York culture, smart people in New York, very smart, strong people in New York, but New York also has a culture that's kind of do for self. You know, in LA, you kind of got, you know, because you have the gangs and stuff, you have like a real strong group culture, right? You know, like this is my block, this is my crew, these are my people, right? Whereas in New York, it's very much like I'm out for self. Like you take care of yours, I'll take care of mine. I don't really care what, you know, about your little situation, you figure that out. And I wonder if that's playing a part in this also. So, but again, not to stereotype or paraphrase everybody from New York, because I have a lot of friends in New York that I love very much. And we get a lot of support out of New York, especially Brooklyn, where Jay is from. So I encourage, I'm open to you guys giving me another perspective, but that's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm seeing in all of this. Okay. So anyway, one more thing I'll remind you guys, I'm going to be in Atlanta the weekend of August 23rd. I'm going to be speaking 3 times. We're going to have a meet and greet on Friday and a book signing. Saturday, I'm going to speak at the We Buy Black convention. And then Sunday, I'm going to do a day-long investing seminar where I'm going to give you 6 lectures and teach you all about investing and wealth and everything else. Same thing I did in Los Angeles. So if you'd like to join us, you can go to drboyceatlanta.com. That's drboyceatlanta.com. The first 40 people who sign up for the seminar can get half off by using the code Atlanta 2019. That's one word, not 2 words, one word, Atlanta 2019. So drboyceatlanta.com, Atlanta 2019 is the code, one word, not 2 words, and you can get 50% off. So, and then New York is actually on the list. And then Houston is the All Black National Convention in September. That's the weekend of September 27th. You can go to allblacknationalconvention.com. That's allblacknationalconvention.com. For New York, the URL is going to be drboycenewyork.com. That'll be in October, but we haven't set that page up yet. So don't go to the page yet. Just go there maybe, you know, in September or something. Okay, guys. All right. So